Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Action, adventure, and espionage with an episode of Dangerous Assignment starring Brian Donlevy. This episode entitled Hired Killer, originally broadcast August 16th, 1950.
On stage tonight from Hollywood, Dangerous Assignment, another in the Wheaties' big parade of exciting half-hour presentations. Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell.
Yeah, danger is my assignment. I get sent to a lot of places I can't even pronounce. They all spell the same thing, though, trouble. But when I walk into the commissioner's office, I don't realize it's going to involve my trying to hold Western Europe together with 2 mirrors, a book of matches, and a rusty razor blade. Morning, Commissioner. Ruth said you wanted to see me.
I do, Steve. You're flying to Paris. But don't get any ideas.
Well, I can dream, can't I?
I'm afraid this dream's going to turn into a nightmare.
Oh, swell. What's the deal?
Tell me, what do you know about Aristide Reynal, Steve?
Reynal? Oh, sure. The Swiss Sherlock Holmes. A sleuth of the old school, complete with a derby hat, umbrella, and false faces. But a very right guy, even if he is left-handed. And also one of the sharpest little detectives in the world.
That's right. But I see you don't know the latest about him.
What's that?
Last night in Paris, Aristide Reynal was murdered.
What? Gee, I'm sorry to hear that. I really liked the little guy. Who did it?
We think it was our old friend Lupac, Steve.
Lupac? Is he still on the loose?
More than ever. Now, Steve, I don't have to tell you about Lupac. He's a hired killer and the cleverest man we've ever had in our hair. I'll tell you how clever he is. He's been operating 5 years that we know of. We're fairly sure he's implicated in at least a half dozen assassinations, and yet no one even has a description of him.
Yeah, I know that. Look, Commissioner, Aristide Reynal was a sort of a friend of mine, but I don't think you'd be sending me over to Paris to find Lupac for that reason.
No, there's a lot more to it than friendship, Steve. You see, representatives of several European nations have been trying to hold top-secret conversations in Paris for the last week.
What do you mean they've been trying?
Every time they schedule a meeting, one of the representatives meets with a fatal accident, and I don't mean accident.
I see.
We think Lupac is responsible for those murders, that he's been hired to hamstring those negotiations. Now, Steve, they're going to try to meet again next Monday. Lupac's got to be caught before then. Get over to Paris, work with Inspector Murat of the Sûreté, and find Lupac. Well, that's it. You've got your assignment. Good luck.
That's what I like about my job. The commissioner's always so nice to me. He gives me a whole weekend in Paris, and all I have to do is find a killer nobody's ever lived to describe. I should be so lucky. Well, it's Friday when I get to Paris. I go to the headquarters of the French Sûreté, and Inspector Murat is waiting for me.
Mitchell, all of us here at the Sûreté feel we have lost an honored colleague in Monsieur Aristide Reynal.
What facts can you give me about Reynal's murder, Inspector?
Unfortunately, very few. We know only that Reynal's body was discovered yesterday morning in the apartment of a man named Belog.
Belog? Who's he?
We have no idea, Mitchell. This Belog has dropped completely out of sight.
Do you have any description of him?
We have managed to piece together a slight description by questioning the other tenants. Belog is a small man, dark, with a mustache and a Van Dyke beard. He customarily wears horn-rimmed glasses and a beret.
Great. That description could fit 1,000 guys in Paris.
True.
You know, there's a little idea pecking at my brain, Murat.
I should not be surprised if it were the same idea that occurred to me, Mitchell. Namely, that this mysterious Monsieur Belog might be the hired killer we seek, Lupac.
Yeah. You got a key to this Belog's apartment, Commissioner?
Yes, we have left everything untouched for the time being.
Good. Come on. I'd like to take a look at it.
As you can see, it is quite a simple apartment.
Yeah, pretty bare. You spot any items of interest here?
A rusty razor blade in the bathroom.
Oh, well, let's take a look. Yeah. And some whiskers in the washbowl.
It is possible that Belog, after the killing, decided to shave off his mustache and beard.
So now we're looking for a little man with horn-rimmed glasses, with or without mustache and beard. You know, we're getting less to go on by the minute. Funny.
Indeed. I do not see any humor in it.
No. I mean, this guy Balog must have been a pretty vain gent.
How do you mean?
He's got 2 mirrors in here.
Oui, I noticed that.
One of them here over the wash pole on the left side of the room in the corner, and another one in the middle of the wall.
Perhaps he needed more light.
There's as much light here as there is there.
You are right. It is strange.
Well, anything else, Inspector?
There on the table in front of you.
This matchbook?
Yes. Note that there are but 2 matches remaining on the right side.
Right now, I'm more interested in noting the name on the cover. Hugo's. What's that?
A small restaurant on the Boulevard de Clichy.
Well, when you don't know where to start, I guess one place is as good as any other, Inspector. Besides, I'm hungry anyway. I'll see you later. So I head for Hugo's, and of course every other guy I see on the way there answers Balog's general description, which gives me a good idea what a sweet job it's going to be finding him. Inside the restaurant, a mournful-looking little gent is circulating from table to table, sawing away at a fiddle for the benefit of a few moonstruck couples. Then a tall, skinny gent spots me standing in the doorway and comes up to me.
Welcome to Hugo's, monsieur.
Are you the official greeter?
I am Hugo.
Oh, good. I'd like to talk to you. Where can we sit?
Why, at this table right here. But if you are selling anything, I am not in the market. Business, it stinks.
Don't worry, I'm not selling anything.
Oh, my friend, I now have much warmer feeling toward you. In that case, I would like to sell you something. A dinner fit for royalty.
Later, but right now I'd like a little information. Did you ever hear the name Balog before?
Balog? Balog?
What are you doing, memorizing it?
Oh, but of course, Balog, a steady customer, noble soul. At least he was.
Was what? A noble soul or a steady customer?
In Hugo's mind, there is no difference, my friend. But to be brief, I have not seen Monsieur Balog in here for the last few days.
I don't wonder. But before that, he used to come in regularly, huh?
Now you're making me slightly uncomfortable, monsieur.
Mitchell. Why?
Mitchell. Very simple. When inquiries are made about my steady customers, sometimes makes them very nervous. Then they become unsteady customers. And then Hugo's nerves become unsteady because it means he is losing money.
I get it. You think $5 American would steady your nerves, Hugo?
Would be interesting experiment. Place the bill in my hand.
Here you are.
Uh-huh. The experiment worked? See, my fingers, they are not quivering one bit.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? Now, about filling me in on this guy, Balog.
Of course. He came in here regularly, usually in company of another man.
What did this other man look like?
Oh, he was small, about Balog's size. Very inconspicuous-looking man. Let me see. I believe he usually wore a derby hat and carried umbrella with him.
Derby hat? Umbrella? Hey, wait a minute. Look, here, take a look at this picture. This isn't the guy by any chance, is it?
But, of course, the very man.
And you say that he and Balog were in here together all the time?
Yes. You know the man in this picture?
I knew him. His name was Aristide Renal.
Well, the two of them seem quite friendly.
I don't get it, unless...
Don't get what, my friend?
I'll skip it. Well, thanks for the information, Hugo.
Oh, but there is more.
Huh?
Indeed. Let us say that you have paid only for the main course of the dinner. There remains dessert.
You know, I don't see why you bother serving food in this place. You seem to do pretty well without it.
One must live, my friend.
Okay, steady fingers. Here's another 5 spot. Now, how about the dessert?
You see, over that corner table, alone.
The girl?
Who else?
Well, you said dessert, and you weren't kidding. French pastry yet. Who is she?
Celeste. Shall we say, friend of Balog's?
That gives me 3 good reasons for talking to her.
3? What are the other 2?
Her eyes, of course. Well, I'll see you later, Hugo. Hi.
Hello.
Mind if I join you?
Why not?
Good question.
I am drinking Pernod in case you want to buy me another drink.
Sounds like an open and shut in case. Waiter, Pernod and scotch.
Oui, monsieur.
You're a friend of Balog's, aren't you?
Why?
You've seen him lately?
Why?
Your needle is stuck. I owe him some money.
Give it to me. I will give it to him.
No, thanks. Not that I don't trust you. I just don't trust you. I'd rather give it to him myself, Celeste.
Suit yourself. I have not seen him lately.
I see. Did you ever hear him use any other name beside Lebuck?
Other names?
Lupac, for instance.
For instance, no. But why do we talk about Balog? He bores me. I know something much more interesting to talk about.
What's that?
Celeste and,
Steve.
Celeste and Steve. It sounds nice.
Yeah. Might be an interesting topic of conversation at that. Where do you think it would lead us?
Maybe to 36th Rue Sedan.
What's there?
My place.
Oh, well...
Here are your drinks, monsieur. Scotch and Pernod.
You're a little late, Buster. We're leaving. There you are.
Merci, monsieur. But the drinks, what shall I do with them?
Well, you might... No, just drink them. Come on, Celeste. We drive up and stop at her place and start in. Then I catch a glimpse of a figure standing in the shadows of the alley across the street. Could be Baylog, alias Lupak. Celeste promises to wait, goes inside, and I walk down to the end of the block. Then I cross over and circle around that block. I came up the alley behind the guy, but when I get into the alley, there's enough light to tell me that no one else is in there. I come out across the street from Celeste's apartment, and still no one in sight. I start to turn for another look back down the alley, but just then an arm swings down out of the doorway beside me, and something awfully hard connects over my right ear. Knocks me to the ground. I fight to get up on my hands and knees, but just as I do, I get it again. I grab for the legs in front of my bleary eyes, but this guy must be enjoying it. The third time is the charm. Out I go.
Steve Mitchell will continue his dangerous assignment in just a moment.
August 16th, 1950, Dangerous Assignment on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Veterinary telemedicine is booming. Hi, I'm Dr. Lori Teller, president of the American Veterinary Medical Association, and I know firsthand that telehealth is a valuable tool to help provide our precious pets with the health care they need and deserve. Here are some situations where telemedicine may be an option for you and your pet. If the veterinarian has seen your pet in person in the past. If you're not sure you need to schedule an in-person visit. If your pet had surgery and needs post-operative follow-up. For skin diseases and rash rechecks. When your veterinarian needs to monitor your pet's chronic problems such as diabetes or allergies. If there are behavioral issues or training challenges. Or for hospice care. It's always good to have your session in a quiet place with good lighting. If you're not sure if you should set up a telehealth session, call your veterinarian and they'll let you know. To learn more, check out avma.org/telehealth. avma.org/telehealth.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Dangerous Assignment, August 16th, 1950.
And now, back to Dangerous Assignment and Steve Mitchell.
Mitchell!
Oh.
Mitchell!
What? Oh, Inspector Murat.
Oh, you are not so bad off after all.
I don't take any bets on that.
Oh, I'm glad.
Brother, my head. What happened anyway?
Oh, well, one of my patrolmen heard a commotion. He saw a man dragging you into this alley. The man fled. When the patrolman saw your identification papers, he called me. And here I am.
Looks like I was about to get taken for the well-known ride.
Who hit you?
I wish I knew. Could have been Baylog. Hey, that reminds me. Come on, Inspector. We should have a talk with Celeste. No answer.
She may have gone. On the other hand, she may be hiding in there.
You got a pass key?
Oui.
Let's find out.
Very well. Here it is.
Now watch it. Baylog may be inside, too.
That possibility has also occurred to me.
I'll get the lights. Huh, empty. You know, there's something that bothers me about this whole setup.
What is it?
That's the trouble. I can't put my finger on it. It's like listening to a pretty little tune and hearing a discord every now and then. Like, for instance, Hugo told me that Baylog and Aristide Renal were regular customers at his restaurant and that they seemed very friendly.
Monsieur Renal was what we might call a detective of the old school. I am sure the idea of assuming another identity and befriending Baylog would have appealed to him.
Yeah, like I say, that could be it. And if that was the only discord, I wouldn't pay any attention to it.
There are others?
Just little ones, like why the two mirrors in Baylog's bathroom?
You think there is a significance there?
Right now, I'm having trouble thinking at all with this lump on my head. Look, I'm going back to Hugo's and see if he can give me any more leads on Celeste. I'll check with you later at headquarters.
Good evening, Monsieur Mitchell.
Hello, Hugo. Hey, looks like you're doing quite a business.
No, these are not customers. They are would-be waiters. Waiters. Today I need a waiter. I put in paper advertisement, and they pour in a flood. Oh, but I do not think that you come back here to talk about waiters. Did you find your friend Baylog?
No, I can't even find Celeste. Hey, there's $10 in it for you if you let me know the next time she drops in here.
$10?
$10. Is it a deal?
My friend, for that I will not only let you know, I will have her here waiting for you in chains.
Ah, Mitchell, were you able to find out anything more at Hugo's?
Only that he's having employment troubles.
Tell me, are you still hearing little discords in this tune we are listening to?
Yes, I am. And I'm beginning to think that the discords could add up to a whole new tune.
But anyway. Hello? Oui? What? Hello, Kiko. Very well. The trail is warming up, Mitchell.
How so?
At your suggestion, I have had one of my men watching Celeste's apartment. He reports that the man answering Baylog's general description just went inside.
Okay. Well, that sort of knocks my new tune into a cocked hat. Come on, let's go. Better stop here, Inspector. Celeste's apartment is just ahead.
Oui.
There's a small open car parked up there in front of the apartment house.
Yes, that is the car the suspect arrived in, according to the report my man gave me.
Look, here he comes out the door.
He's getting into the car. Mitchell, we must not let him escape.
Hold it. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere. He's just sitting in the car. He's a little guy, all right. Hugo said Baylog was a little guy.
He is not wearing glasses, however, and he is clean-shaven.
Don't forget those whiskers in Baylog's wash basin. He could have shaved his beard off.
What are you going to do?
Have a little talk with him. I'll be back in a minute.
Be very careful, Mitchell.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, what is it?
Have you got a match?
Why, of course. Here.
Thanks. Say, I wonder if you could help me.
Help you?
Yeah. I'm a tourist here, and I need a little information.
Oh, yeah. I'm rather in a hurry, and...
Well, this won't take a minute. Here. This is a timetable for the Underground Railway, but I can't seem to figure out where the nearest station is.
Oh, very well. Excuse, I must put on my glasses. So, now let me see it. Oui, your nearest station is just off the Boulevard de Montparnasse.
How do I get there?
Let me see. You go down the street 2 blocks, then over 1, and then you turn...
No, not so fast. Look, here's a piece of paper. Would you write it down for me?
Oh, certainly.
I'm sorry to put you to the trouble. Next.
Oh, it is quite all right. Here you are.
Thank you very much.
Well?
I don't know. Could be Baylog, all right. He had to put on glasses to read the timetable.
In that case, perhaps we... Mitchell, look!
Yeah, Celeste just jumped into his car. Come on, you're right. Get this baby started. We don't want to lose him now. So, for the next 30 minutes, we chased them down a dozen assorted side streets and alleys, but we can't seem to gain on them. Finally, we spot the car pulled up in front of a 4-story warehouse. Neither the little guy nor Celeste is in the car. We pull up behind it.
There must be somewhere in that building, Mitchell.
Yeah, but where? This is a lot of building, looks like.
One of us had better go to the rear entrance, the other take the front.
Okay, you, Moret, get back!
Mon Dieu.
Brother. Well, this is the guy we were chasing, all right, or what's left of him.
No identification on him, but that does not surprise me. Well, Mitchell, the case is closed. Our little friend, Baylog, realized he was cornered. He preferred to administer justice to himself.
Did he?
I know what you are thinking, that perhaps he was pushed off the building. Well, perhaps he was. It is no matter. Either way, it would appear our case is closed.
Yeah, you're right. That's just the way it would appear.
Monsieur Mitchell, international cooperation is a wonderful thing, and it has been a privilege to work with you in this affair. But I must say, I am becoming increasingly annoyed at your present attitude.
Sorry.
It is true we have identified the body as that of Harold Pravda, an unemployed waiter. But to me, this means nothing. If Baylog was Lupak, as we believe him to be, he was quite capable of assuming a dozen different identities.
I know all that, Inspector.
But I tell you, the whole thing fits into place. Observe. First, we know that Aristide Renal was on the trail of the notorious Lupak. Second, Renal is murdered in the apartment of a mysterious little man named Baylog. Third, we know that Celeste is a friend of Baylog's. Fourth,
we chase Celeste and a little guy to a warehouse. The little guy takes a dive or gets pushed off the roof.
Exactamo. And furthermore, this little guy, as you call him, answers Baylog's description, even to the horn-rimmed glasses, which he put on to write directions for you when you approached.
Hey, hold it right there.
What?
You just said something, Inspector. I remember now. That little guy wrote out the directions for me right-handed.
Is this so unusual?
It's unusual enough to take us back to Baylog's apartment right now.
Baylog's apartment? But surely a Baylog is dead.
Baylog is dead, all right, but if my hunch is good, there's something a lot more important than Baylog in his apartment.
But what could it be?
The answer to this whole deal. Inspector, one of the things you showed me when we were here in Baylog's apartment before was this matchbook on the table.
But of course, that led us to Hugo's restaurant.
Yeah, and that's all I was paying attention to at the time. I should have paid more attention to the fact that the remaining matches were on the right-hand side of the book. That means the person who was using those matches was left-handed.
Grant, he picked off the matches with his left hand.
Aristide Reynal was left-handed.
Of course he was, Mitchell. We both know that. But what does that prove? We believe that Reynal was posing as a friend of Baylog's. They ate dinner together. Reynal obviously visited this apartment. As a matter of fact, this is where his body was discovered, if you will remember.
Yeah, Reynal was left-handed. He probably used those matches. Now, come on into the bathroom.
Very well.
Now, this is the part I couldn't figure out before, Murat, but it sure makes sense now, the two mirrors.
But I still do not see...
Look, the regular mirror is over the washbowl right here in the left-hand corner of the room.
True.
Now, pretend you're Baylog and you're going to shave, and also pretend you're left-handed.
Wyatt, no, all right. I would simply take a razor in my left hand and then...
Ooh, this may be a smooth ending. Dangerous Assignment starring Brian Donlevy, August 16th, 1950, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion, along with another yours truly Johnny Dollar story, comes up following these important words.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Dangerous Assignment, August 16th, 1950. Do we have a line on the killer?
Mitchell.
Yeah, that's right, Inspector. There's not enough room between the mirror and the wall on the left side for a left-handed man to shave.
Yes.
You'd probably cut your nose off.
That is why Baylog set up the other mirror farther along the wall.
Yeah. Inspector, doesn't it strike you as a pretty big coincidence that both Reynal and Baylog happen to be left-handed?
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that Reynal and Baylog were one and the same man.
What? But that is impossible.
Is it? Look, we know Reynal liked to adopt various disguises. I think he grew a beard, rented this apartment under the name of Baylog, and went after Lupak. Then, when things got too warm, he shaved off his beard, but it was too late. Lupak killed him, and his body was correctly identified as Reynal.
But Hugo himself told us he had seen Reynal and Baylog dining together frequently in his restaurant.
That's the point, Inspector. That means that...
That means that Hugo was lying.
Hello, Hugo. I figured you'd be pretty close on our trail at this point.
I had to be sure you were convinced that the little man who, shall we say, fell off the roof was Baylog. Unfortunately, you're not convinced, that's all.
Then Hugo is Lupak.
That's about the way it adds up.
I have that honor indeed. Inspector, the hand away from the pocket, please. I admit there are more artistic ways of killing than with this gun of mine, but I am a practical man. I always suit the weapon to the occasion.
You were pretty smart in this deal, weren't you, Hugo?
Up to a point.
When you found out that we believed there was a guy named Baylog and that he'd killed Reynal, you decided to keep the story alive. You even went so far as to hire a little waiter who might pass for Baylog. You made a deal with him to take us on a chase through town. Then you shoved him off the building, hoping that would close the case and take the heat off of you.
Stay where you are. So it did not work. However, you are the only two who know it did not work. And you can be easily disposed of. Mitchell, stay where you are.
Don't worry, Hugo. I'm not getting any closer to you. I'm just walking sideways.
Stop.
You know, Hugo, for the first time in your life, you're going to have to make a choice.
I said stop.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Up to this point in your illustrious career, you've always been told who to kill. Now you've got to choose, me or Murat.
I shall kill both of you.
Oh, no. We're on opposite sides of the room now, and you're right in the middle. Whichever one you shoot, the other's going to jump you, and you won't have time to get us both. So, which one of us it is going to be? Hugo? Hugo licks his lips, jerking his head first towards me and then Murat. My plan is working. I'm almost to the light switch. Hugo takes another quick look at Murat, and I grab the switch and drop to the floor. I know Murat's got his gun out by now, like I have, but I also know Hugo's too smart to stay in one spot. I listen. No sound. I've got to figure out a way to trap him. Then I think of the small shaving mirror on the bathroom wall. I'm about 2 feet from the door. I ease into the bathroom flat on my stomach and get the mirror. Then I prop it up against the inside of the door so it'll reflect from behind the door out into the living room. I get behind the door and stick my gun through the crack. Then I take my cigarette lighter, reach back behind me, and light it. He takes a shot at the reflection, and I've got his location pegged. Murat.
I am all right, Mitchell.
Okay, I got the right guy then. Get the lights.
Oh, indeed, you did get the right man, Mitchell.
Huh. He's still alive, but I don't think for very long.
Your mirror device was most effective.
Well, I guess it was pretty fitting, Inspector. That mirror was what tipped us off to the whole deal anyway.
It would appear the old superstition about breaking a mirror is true.
No, you're wrong there, Inspector. This proves that superstition is all wet.
How do you mean?
Well, breaking a mirror is supposed to bring 7 years bad luck, isn't it?
Well, yes, I guess it is.
So it sure isn't true for Hugo anyway. He should live that long.
Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell, is written by Bob Wright, with music composed by Basil Adlam and conducted by Ralph Hollenbeck, and is produced and directed by Bill Carn. Join us again next Wednesday when Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell embarks on another Dangerous Assignment.
August 16th, 1956, Dangerous Assignment on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Crystal Lake Cabin Matter. This episode originally broadcast August 16th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Ansel Garrett, Johnny. I was out when you phoned a minute ago.
Ants, get over here fast.
What's the matter?
I'm trapped in the office of Jensen's boathouse.
Trapped?
Look, I've got no time to explain. There's a man outside with a gun, and I can't hold him off much longer.
Who is it?
I don't know, but I've got a strong hunch it's the one who murdered Russell. And he's trying to do likewise to me.
Tonight, and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar. To Amalgamated Life Associates, Home Office, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, The Crystal Lake Matter. Expense account continued. Item 7, 2 cents. Just about what I figured my life was worth at the moment. The tiny office I was in had no windows and no outside door. A real trap. And outside in the darkened boathouse, somebody with a gun was stalking me. Probably the killer I've been looking for. But now he was looking for me. I stacked what furniture there was against the door. He started throwing his weight against it, and it couldn't last very long. There was nothing I could do but wait. Right then, the sound of Aunt Garrett's voice outside was just about the sweetest music this side of heaven.
Drop the gun! Drop it! You okay, Johnny?
Yeah, just a minute. I'll get this stuff away from the door. Okay.
Light switch here somewhere. There. Well,
Bill Jensen.
So you're my boy, Jensen.
What are you talking about? What are you doing here anyway, Dollar?
Getting shot at by you, mostly.
Look, this is my boathouse, remember? You got no business to come prowling around here.
Now, simmer down, Bill. Simmer down.
I thought he was a prowler, Ants.
Oh, yeah, sure. You knew I was getting close to you, Jensen. You decided to put me out of the ball game, and you came pretty close, believe me.
I tell you, I don't know what you're talking about. I figured it was somebody after my boats
Expect
again.
me to buy a story like that?
Just hold it a second, both of you. If I can get a word in edgewise around here, maybe we can straighten things out.
They're pretty straight right now, as far as I can see.
Maybe. Bill, you claim you figured Johnny was a prowler trying to steal something, huh?
How would you figure it, Ants? I see somebody sneaking into the boathouse and catch a glimpse of somebody else hanging around outside.
Wait a minute. Somebody else? Who? Man or woman?
I couldn't tell. Whoever it was got out of sight mighty fast.
Oh, sure. Pretty convenient story, Jensen. Somebody around here has been keeping an eye on me right from the start. But right now, it figures to be you.
Look, Dollar, I'm...
Hold it, Bill! A couple of Jensen's boats have turned up missing lately, Johnny. It's natural he might think that
Yeah, and something else has turned up missing here, too, Ants.
What do you mean?
That's why I came here to the boathouse tonight in the first place. When I was here this afternoon, I noticed that the padlocks on his boats were missing. One of them was missing. They looked an awful lot like the one that Russell's killer put on the cabin door when he planted the body there.
A lock's a lock, Johnny.
Yeah, but one of Jensen's is missing. Don't forget that.
Oh?
Here, come here. Take a look. Right there.
Yeah. So it is. How about it, Jensen?
I didn't even know it was gone. How do I know what happened to it? Somebody stole it. Probably the same guy who stole those boats last month. Look, if you're trying to involve me in Russell's murder, you're wasting your time. I didn't even know the guy, and you got nothing to tie me into it.
No? Then you better listen to a few facts, Jensen. Edward Russell took off from his home in Denver and came up here to Crystal Lake looking for a guy named Bill, which just happens to be your name.
A half a dozen other Bills in town, too, Dollar. Now, what does that prove?
Russell's body was found in Bixby's vacant cabin when Bixby brought a prospect up to show him the place. Bixby's lock had been taken off the door and a new one put on. Your padlock, Jensen.
I already told you somebody must have stolen it from
Then
me.
I come around to your boathouse here to check on the locks, and you start throwing shots at me. You figure it out.
You haven't got a case against me, and you know it, Dollar.
Just the same, Jensen. You better come down to my office with us. I got a few more questions I want to ask you. And I'd like to check your gun against the slug that killed Russell.
Go ahead. Check it. Sure, I'll come down with you, Ants. I want to get this straightened out, too. But let me tell you something, Dollar. Next time you come around my boathouse without a search warrant, I won't miss.
We questioned Jensen for an hour, but he didn't change his story. He kept denying any connection with the murdered man, Edward Russell, or his wife, Leona. Afterward, Ance and I went into his office.
I don't think we got enough to hold him on, Johnny. For one thing, his gun's a different caliber than the one that killed Russell. Oh, sure, he could have used a different gun, but we'd have to find it to prove anything.
What about the padlock?
That's a point, all right, but it's our only point. Somebody could have stolen it, like Jensen said.
A frame?
Could be. Jensen sure sticks to his story.
Yeah. I threw everything I could think of at him, but he didn't crack an inch.
Well, after all, Johnny, you were out of line going into his boathouse like that.
So I should have had a search warrant. There wasn't time.
You know, you got quite a knack for stirring up trouble. If you're wrong about Jensen and the other suspects, you're going to owe a few apologies.
Apologies I don't mind handing out. But Russell's killer I want.
You think I don't? Deputy Sheriff Garrett speaking. What? Oh, yeah, put it through. It's Mrs. Putnam in Denver, Johnny, wife of the man who wanted to buy Bixby's cabin.
Yeah.
I put a call into her earlier. Hello? Oh, yeah, Mrs. Putnam. This is Deputy Sheriff Garrett up at Crystal Lake. Yeah, the reason I'm calling, your husband tells us you and he had been interested in buying a cabin up here for some time. I thought I'd check with you. What's that? You sure about that? I see. Yeah, well, thanks very much, Mrs. Putnam. Well, I guess your hunches are still clicking, Johnny.
She didn't know anything about it, huh?
Not a thing. Didn't even know her husband was up here.
Now,
Look, gentlemen, I've already told you all about it. I saw Bixby's ad in the paper about his cabin here being for sale. It sounded like just a thing that
you and your wife had in mind, Mr. Putnam?
Yes, exactly. So
you can hold it right there, Putnam. You lied to us.
I most certainly did not.
Your wife doesn't seem to know anything about it.
Oh, my wife? Good Lord. Is she up here?
No, I talked to her on the phone.
You didn't tell her about my wanting to buy the cabin?
Yeah, Putnam, I did.
You lied, Putnam. And there could be a pretty good reason for it.
Look,
you knew Bixby's cabin was empty. You could have planted Russell's body there and then pretended to want to buy the place so Bixby would open it up and the body'd be discovered. It'd make a pretty good cover for you.
Oh, gentlemen, please. I'm in enough trouble as it is right now without you piling more on. I had nothing to do with Russell's murder. I didn't even know the man.
What do you mean about being in trouble, then?
Oh, with my wife. Look, it's probably hard for the two of you to understand. You don't know my wife.
Don't know your wife? What about?
I did lie about her wanting the cabin. She didn't know anything about it.
We know that.
I just wanted a place to get away from her once in a while.
Ance looked at me, and I looked at Ance. And I guess we both had the same idea. The idea that we'd run another in a long series of blanks. We heard Putnam out a long and familiar tale of woe. We could establish no connection between him and the dead man, so we finally left. We left him in the middle of a long sentence about what his wife said to him every time he got home from the office late. Ance and I went outside. The lake was silver in the moonlight, and a million stars were crowding the sky. A good night to be young. But at the moment, I was feeling 90 years old.
Getting you down, Johnny?
Yeah, right now I feel like an old beat-up merry-go-round. I've been going round and round, and my bearings are getting creaky.
Yeah, the trouble is we've checked out just about everybody who could possibly be involved.
It's motive that beats me, Ance. The only one we know of to gain by Russell's death is his wife, Leona, beneficiary of his $50,000 insurance policy.
Yeah, but the Denver police established her in Denver at the time Russell was killed up here. Yeah, she couldn't have done it.
We've got only one more lead as far as I can figure. The guy who drives the local taxi here at the lake.
Hiram?
Yeah.
He keeps his car right over there in that shed.
I know. That's why I was heading this way. Shed's empty, though. Benny Norton told me when she was with Russell the night he got killed, his Hiram came up and told Russell somebody was looking for him, drove him away.
Well, Hiram could have a line on the killer.
But I can't seem to get a line on Hiram. I've tried to call him half a dozen times. I've left a message for him to contact me, but I haven't had a word from him. I don't like it.
Our boys are looking for him. No sign yet.
Well, we're not getting anywhere right now. Hey, look, if you're off duty, Ance, I'll buy you a drink in the hotel room.
I am, and you got a deal. Of course, there's one possibility been in the back of my mind all along, Johnny. And probably in yours, too.
You mean the killer could be somebody we don't even know about, a stranger?
Yeah. Yeah, those are the toughest ones to crack.
I know. The lobby's kind of crowded tonight.
We're getting into the busy season.
Mr. Dollar.
Hey, it's Leona Russell. Excuse me a minute, Ance. Meet you in the bar.
You're right.
Good evening, Mrs. Russell. I didn't know you were still here.
I'm leaving in the morning. The sheriff asked me to come up here and make an identification of the body.
I know.
Afterward, I just couldn't seem to get myself organized. I took one of the hotel cottages for a day or two. Such a peaceful spot up here. It's hard to believe.
Yes, I understand. Mrs. Russell, your husband came up here apparently looking for a man named Bill. I've questioned two Bills so far, Cullen the bartender and Jensen the boatkeeper. Those names mean anything to you?
Not that I recall. That's what's so terrible about this whole thing, Mr. Dollar. There just doesn't seem to have been any connection between anybody up here and my husband. Why would anyone have done it?
That's a good question, Mrs. Russell. And right now, we don't seem to have an answer for it. I went into the bar, but Ance Garrett was nowhere in sight. The bartender told me he'd been called away. Expense account item 8, 75 cents, one drink. I waited. Still no Garrett. After a while, I went on in back of the hotel to check on Hiram's taxi cab. Nothing. The message I'd left him was still there. I went back into the bar, but Ance didn't show up. Finally, I went up to my room. Johnny Dollar.
Ance Garrett, Johnny.
Oh, hi.
I tried to call you in the bar just now. They told me you'd gone to your room.
I got tired waiting for you.
Sorry, I got hauled away on official business. I'm calling from a gas station up near the 3 Mile grade.
Trouble?
Plenty. Johnny, seems like when you go looking for people, it always turns out to be bad luck. For them.
What do you mean?
You came up here looking for Russell. He turned up dead. Now you've been looking for Hiram, the taxi driver.
Don't tell me.
Afraid so. We just fished his body out of a ravine.
Now, here's our star to tell you about the final episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, the wind-up, the payoff. A payoff with illegal tender. Hot lead. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Robert Reif, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Roy Rowan speaking.
From August 16th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A good number of thanks to Ted over at RadioMemories.com, who supplies a lot of our yours truly, Johnny Dollar shows. You can get programs from Ted on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer by going to RadioMemories.com. Please thank this radio station, support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. If you miss a day, you do not have to miss one single show. All of our shows are available free of charge, streaming at classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. You can stream the shows on demand there, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find links to all of the places where our shows are available. You can contact me. You can also buy me a copy if you so like. The Buy Me a Coffee money goes toward us acquiring more great classic radio theater shows, many who haven't been heard since their original broadcast. That's classicradio.stream. classicradio.stream. Thanks for listening. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.